everyone, this is AruvaChan, and I want to start this off with a little disclaimer. I am doing critiques of people who've only asked me to do critiques of them. So I'm not pulling people from random, saying, bad stuff about their art just because I don't like it, or, whatever reason that other artists do critiques. I am doing it solely from my Discord, which you can find a link in the description if you'd like me to do yours. And I'm currently just going down the list, so if I haven't gotten to yours, it's because it's further down the list. So if I keep going with this, then don't worry about it, because you will eventually get there. Alright, so the first artist we're gonna do is ranking maybe? And their piece is a lovely flower piece, and they said to be as brutal as I'd like. So I really like this. The only thing I would say is I'd like to see more definition in the line work. There's a lot of kind of stray lines just all over the place and kind of smudges, and I'm not sure if that was intentional, because if it is, I'd like to see, darker lines where it is supposed to be. I can see a few up here that need to be a little bit, they either need to be erased or darkened, because you really can't see it. It kind of just looks like it's a smudge. I'd like to see the darker lines. If you get a really dark pen, or even if you're doing this in Photoshop, because I know they said, I'm pretty sure they said it was colored digitally, but if you get a black or even a dark brown, it would probably make all of the things in your drawing just come together so much better. And I definitely think everything looks really nice. You could use a little bit more shading on the girl, but it's not really that big of a problem. I just think if you had darker lines, it would be so much more full, I believe. Alright, so the next artist is AruvaChan. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Sorry if I get your name wrong. But their art is this cute little spider girl. And there are a few things that I see could be changed, could be a little better. Right off the bat, there's no background, and with any good picture you have a good background. And a background really pulls stuff in to make the whole piece a whole piece instead of just a character. And I love the design. I wish her eyes were a little bit more visible, underneath the hair. I will say this probably in every video, I don't like hair being over top of eyes or eyebrows, because in real life you can't see eyes through hair. So if I had met this girl in real life, I would not have been able to see that she had other eyes, and I feel like that would take away from her character design if that was actually possible. I love the way you do, the eyelashes. It kind of reminds me of Sonic. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing for you, but it reminds me a lot of the way they shape the faces in Sonic, where they have the little nose part and then the cheeks, and then they have the eyes. That's kind of what your character reminds me of. The anatomy is not bad. Her head looks like it's a little bit disconnected from her body, maybe if they broke it, but that could also be what you're kind of going for, because it looks like it's supposed to be a little creepy. It's not really creepy, it's more anime. This spider web in the background, you can hardly see it, and if I were you, I would just make it white, because most spider webs are white in the beginning. If you made that white, you'd be able to see it better. I kind of had to strain to see this part because I'm not wearing glasses right now. And it would just make it a lot easier to see, and maybe, draw some attention to that, because right now you can't really, you're not really pulled into that. It's kind of just a thing that fades in the background. Even if you just make it a lighter gray, it would kind of draw stuff to it. I'm not really sure what's going on right here in the picture. I can see there's a skirt, but I can see a square and a circle. and some tubes right here, and I don't know what it is. And I don't really want to lean into the picture because then you wouldn't be able to see me, but I think it's part of her hair and or a tail maybe, or maybe even spider legs. I'm not sure, but if you could clear that up, make it whatever it is more defined, like maybe lengthen the picture and put it down here. But I feel like other than that, your picture is really cute. I could definitely see it on like a character select screen if, you know, she was a character in Sonic, or, you know, like an indie Flash thing. I could totally see it, but I definitely think you should work on those parts. The hair thing with the eyes, it doesn't really matter, especially if that's your style. That's just a preference for me. So yeah, basically that's pretty much all I have for that one. Alright, so the next artist is I'm So Spooky, and I want to kind of reiterate from last week that this is Halloween themed, hence the everything on me. It's Halloween themed because Halloween is like a week away, so we're all in the festive mood on my server, and it's just a lot of fun. So this person's name is I'm So Spooky, and they said be as brutal as possible. So okay, I know exactly what you're going for. You're kind of going for like a, you know, white girl, like, because I can see basic white girl, I guess, because I can see boots, I can see a bun, I can see like a little cup, and I like that. I like that you have clear, you know, defined what you want. I think your coloring could use a little bit more work, like not the coloring the way you color, but the kind of colors, because if this was me, I would probably not be going out with a yellow tank top on underneath a blue shirt with black pants and brown boots. I would probably most likely go out with, you know, the black pants for sure, and maybe brown boots, but this blue and yellow tank top would not work for me, especially since she has such big boots. It looks like she might be, you know, in somewhere cold, or she may be cold. She could be, you know, the embodiment of a smoothie or whatever this is, a shake and icy. I don't know. I can't really tell. But it's just a cup with a lid. So I definitely think maybe dress her appropriately. Like if she is a cold thing, maybe dress her in warm clothes, or like if it's supposed to be during the summer, dress her in summer clothes, because you've got two different seasons kind of contradicting each other. And I personally, I love blue and yellow, but I don't think they work well together. I've tried this a million times and I have not found a good combination. But I definitely think maybe give her like a lighter brown, like not this brown, but maybe like this brown as like a, you know, a sweater, and then give her like maroon, or not maroon, sorry, a navy blue like underneath, like a v-neck or something. And you can keep this little heart pendant, because a lot of people just wear necklaces to wear necklaces. Like I have a heart pendant on right here, and it's actually a glow-in-the-dark pendant, and I keep it on because I like glow-in-the-dark stuff. And it's Halloween, so I don't really care. But accessories usually stay on the person. Bracelets are usually interchanged. Like I right now have two hair ties on. Actually, that's three hair ties on, which is a common girl accessory. Very easy, very simple. All you need to do is draw a little line. But I don't put on any, you know, like big jewelry, and that's a personal preference. So you really need to think about what kind of character your character is, like what kind of character your person has. Like some people are, I would say they have spicy personalities, and they usually have a lot of earrings, or, you know, bracelets, or rings, or, you know, a tongue ring, or piercings right here. Sorry, that was like a hiccup. But I have Like, I am more toned down, so I don't really go overboard with anything. I'm kind of doing it today with my makeup because it's Halloween, baby. But everything that you put on a character goes into their personality. And if you figure out what kind of personality your character has, then you figure out, you know, she isn't really that high maintenance, so she doesn't wear any, you know, fun jewelry. She just has the pendant that her, you know, great grandma gave her. And, you know, but she kind of looks like she does her makeup, she has jewelry on, so I'm thinking she probably takes pride in her appearance, and she would probably be pretty cold. So I think maybe try a few of those things and see how the picture kind of looks after that. I definitely think you need to work on your anatomy just a little bit. I know exactly what we're going for when you did the arms, but I think this part right here is a little too chubby, and it doesn't really flow with her wrist. Like, her wrist comes out right here, so it would go up like this instead of out like this. And the same goes with like this side. This goes down and then it goes like inwards basically, so you'd want to go down and out, and this one can go just straight up. But other than that, it's a very cute character. I like the idea a lot. I like that you gave her gray hair, like icy. When you do shines, you can try different ways. Like, I do like a straight and then a curve up to the top, and I just keep it like that. But people do like zigzags every once in a while. So try different shading styles with, you know, the highlights of the hair, because right now it just looks like a circle to represent shine, and that does work on certain things, but not all the time. I would not rely on that for everything. That's more of like a plasticky, like, you only ever get that circle if it's plastic. And it could be that she's a doll or a toy, but I kind of think she's probably not. I'm not sure what this is either. It could just be part of her design, but kind of give us a little info why that's part of her design. Like, she looks like she's just like a valley girl. So she's got a big scar on her cheek. Why? Like, if she is this scarred metaphorically and or physically, usually people carry that differently. And if it is like an old scar, you want to fade that out a little bit. Like Sadie from Steven Universe, for example, she got a scar on her face, like on her cheek, and eventually, you know, it got to the point where you could hardly see it, but it was still there. But we were taken through the journey of how she got it, so we knew why it was there. And she kind of looks disheveled the later into the series that you go, so give her a little bit of, you know, understanding why she has that, or give us a little bit of understanding. Like, if she does have this scar, make her, you know, not as happy, or, you know, a little bit more disheveled looking. Like, if she is wearing a coat, she can wear it off one shoulder and like be holding something maybe that shows that she's not afraid of whatever gave her that scar. But I definitely think all of these things together may help build your character a lot more, because right now it is at its most basic kind of character design. And I definitely think if you build upon a character, build upon a character. If you want to build upon your character, you have to really think about what affects your character, what goes into a character. I know a lot of things go around theme, so if you are doing, you know, like a ice cream kind of summer thing, you want to dress her for summer. If you're doing, you know, a cold kind of icy and you want her to be, you know, cold, maybe give her some sweaters, or, you know, definitely pick something and try and knit everything all together, because at the moment it's kind of just, you're taking things from different places. And I understand that, because I once used to do that, and I still kind of do it because it's fun. Like, I'll just do whatever, but I still have kind of the idea I want, and I will try and pick certain things. Like, even if I do give the character a tank top or whatever and winter boots, I'll usually explain it with like red hair, like she's usually hot, but like her feet get cold or whatever, I don't know. I wouldn't ever design a character like that, but give them an explanation. Give them an explanation, and kind of, because she looks too perfect right now. She looks perfect for the scar on her face, and she looks too warm for the boots. So definitely tie everything in, and I definitely think your drawing and your character will be so much better. Alright, so our next artist is Just Monica, and they want me to be the most brutal and honest about anatomy and what they could change. So a lot of these things are actually for the server. Like, this was the telephone for the server, and I really like seeing different things. Like, it's really nice and refreshing to not see anime all the time. That's why having a lot of more furry kind of people on the server is really interesting, because they have a lot of really cool ideas. I definitely think you need to work on your anatomy quite a bit. There are a few things that I kind of picked up. So the easiest way to work on your anatomy as somebody who draws animals is to take inspiration from other animals. Like, this is Spyro, give or take. And if you wanted to draw this better, you can get a picture of a dog. Now, dogs are shaped more slanted, so it would cut off right here, but the back and the arms would be the same. Like, right now, this character has kind of human-like proportions. Like, it's got a chest and shoulders with straight arms and sort of like a stomach and a waist. Like, I could, if I flipped this and colored this tan, I could definitely see it, being a person. Like, cut this part off, cut this part off, and cut these parts off. I would not know whether it was an animal or a human. So I definitely think, look at references of dog's chest. Like, there are different kinds of dogs. My dog, for example, has a barrel chest, which means her chest goes out much further and it comes in further. So instead of being right here, it would be sort of down here, and then it would come up. And that would help kind of give more, I guess, shape to this character, because right now it's a little bit wonky. Like, their front legs are really skinny, showing that they might run a lot, but there's no muscle definition in them, and the shoulder comes up at a weird kind of human-y, too human to be an animal kind of. Dog and cat shoulders, from what I have seen, are very flat, and you can't tell where their shoulder ends and where their neck begins. Like, I have a cat, and I will sometimes just like feel the side of his arm, because it's like this. I'll feel in to his shoulder blade just to see where it kind of connects. And I can do that with my dog too, but it's more defined on like a cat. Make the neck thicker too, so make it like this, and make the head a little bigger so it doesn't look so out of proportion if you give them a bigger neck and not a bigger head. The legs need to be thinner, much thinner. If these front legs are that thin, these back legs need to be that thin. Or if these front legs are that thick, these back legs are that, have to be that thick. The tail looks good, very good. I can see a little bit of, shading things going on, but it doesn't really matter. I definitely think try to define their shape. If you need to look at different animals, like, I know a lot of people are scared to draw animals because there aren't really, mythical animals. There aren't really a lot of references for a dragon, other than the ones that have been already drawn. But take from different things, like, you can take the barrel chestedness from a dog, plus the legs of a horse, and make it into something, different. Or give it the body of a bull and the tail of a horse or something. Like, give it different aspects of something. Like, take the chest of a bull and take the legs of a dog and take the claws of a lizard and mash them all together, and you'll eventually get something that you actually are like, oh yeah, like this actually looks like a dragon. Versus right now where it kind of looks like almost a cat. I'd say it kind of looks like a cat, which is okay. Your dragons can look like cats. But I don't think that's what you're going for. I definitely think maybe look into dogs, like look at wolves. I know wolves are a really big thing in the furry fandom, but look at wolves and kind of try to figure out the way their body works. I know a lot of furries draw wolves, but they are on the right track because you really want to get a base animal, and dogs are very like hardy animals. So if you learn how to draw a dog, you can pretty much draw, you know, wolves, hyenas, cats, and I don't know, a ton of other animals that I can't think of right now because what are animals? But if you learn to draw that, I definitely think you're gonna get a lot better at, you know, drawing the way that their legs work. Like, I don't know, dog legs are kind of hard for me, or not dog leg, horse legs are hard for me, so I need to, you know, study horse legs, but I got the dog legs down, so I will occasionally just draw horse legs as dog legs, even though they're not supposed to look like that. But it could work for you in that kind of situation, and I definitely think if you did that, it would probably work a lot better. And I see the same thing is kind of going on here. The arms are kind of chilling like human arms, and it's kind of scary. Like, I definitely think that animal arms don't go like this, they're more like this, and the chest, the same chest is kind of going on. Like, there isn't enough support for the arms, and the arms swing like this, like they don't come up this high. The legs are actually really good on this one. I'm really proud of you on this one. And the, like this, you would not be able to tell, like it looks like the arms going like this underneath, which I don't know how it would bend on this because you can't see the other shoulder blade. Like, you should be able to see it, like probably right here, and you cannot see it in that one. So for this one's a little bit different because you are kind of doing more of a human thing, and you're doing like a human dragon hybrid kind of, or a dragon that can stand up. And this character is, I drew this character because they won the monthly contest, so I made them a little icon of their character. But I definitely think the proportions are very, very wrong on this. And now I don't really know what you're trying to go for when you're drawing these characters. I'm only kind of roughly estimating when you're drawing them, so I'm going off of what I know. And from what I can see is, it looks like this character is a male, so they should have a much larger chest than thighs, because right now these are girl thighs, and the girl thighs go up to, it looks like a baby chest. But for guys, they have a much larger chest than they do thighs, so it would be probably the size of their shoulders. Like, your shoulders go, you know, 2 or 3 fingers away from your chest, so you want to lengthen the shoulders quite a bit and give them more up here and give them less down here, because really, when I drew them, I really did think they were a girl, which I don't. Oops, sorry. But I definitely think this is a girl bottom, and you know, I wouldn't judge a guy who had legs like this because whatever, people are just shaped differently. But if they are shaped like this, they need a bigger torso because they're probably bigger. And it really is very improportional, and the way you drew the legs are very, very tall, which could be, you know, your style, but again, I think you need to work on the kind of dog shape of the legs, because right now it's like, I don't understand how they're standing, not because they're long legs or whatever, but the way that they're standing, like, it should be one of the legs is facing this way and the other faces this way or something, the way they're standing, but both of them are kind of facing that way, but the other foot's like this. So figure out the way your legs are going, like figure out the direction, because if you're looking straight on from a dog, it looks like their legs just go straight down. Versus this character where the legs kind of point out no matter what direction that their claws are facing in. Like this could totally be straight, which would not be great for this, because it looks like it's at an angle, but maybe this one you could have it straight, which it would just be like, it would be curved and then straight down, so it would be like this and then straight down. Also, this needs to be a little bit longer because this is your animal's knee, and this is not where your knee is on your leg. This is your kind of middle of your thigh. So this is, I'm genuinely, I know very little about animals, so if you want to learn a little bit more, maybe check out like Nani. Like I know Nani does some furry stuff, and she might, or they might be able to, I'm not sure if they're she, but they might be able to help you a lot more than I can. This is the middle of the thigh, so bring it down just a little bit. Like this is your character's ankle, and I know it's the weirdest thing, but I learned that about, you know, cats and dogs, is this part right here is their ankle, and you know, this is most of their foot. Like this is just the toes. That's the toes, baby. But yeah, if you think about legs like this, like if you really want your ankle to be that high, like your bottom of your leg's gonna be moving like this, and it's gonna be really awkward for the character to walk. I definitely think the tail is a really good idea. The tail is a really cool idea. I really like it. The hands could use a little bit more work. Like your thumb right here is backwards. And your arm is too far out. Like if you just select this and move this in a little bit, I definitely think that would look a lot better. And also maybe switch the hand, like flip flop it, because right now it's like this and it should be like this. It's like this on this hand. So flip flop that and bring it in a little bit, and make sure that the chest gets larger and the thighs get smaller, because otherwise you will not be able to know if it is a guy or not, because it is a dragon, and I know what you're going for, but it definitely kind of gets lost in translation. And we have our last one. I love cats. I'm not sure if this is a cat, but that's what it reminds me of, like a lynx sort of. And if you are going for that, I would say look up references. You really, really, really need to look up references, because right now I can tell that you're kind of going with everything from what you're remembering and everything that's in your head, and that's great. I love that, because you really are learning how to be creative when you do stuff from your head. But I definitely think when you're doing things like this, you really need to pull from real life a little bit. Not 100%, because that's where everything kind of gets boring. You're just really just drawing pictures of animals all the time. But I would say look at the way their fur goes. Like for the most part, you can't tell the difference between the inside and the outside of their fur, except for, you know, save a little bit of the little brush strokes at the top. But for the most part, you can't tell the difference between the fur and the rest of their face. Like cats have like a clear defined pattern on their face. This one, it kind of just blends into different colors, where you wouldn't have to do that if you were doing, you know, a regular painting. And I know you probably wanted a different kind of style to go with, and that's cool. And I really appreciate wanting to experiment, because I literally experimented my whole art career, and I was trying to figure out what I liked and what I didn't like, and I have a painting like this. I really do. Alright, so this is my version of your drawing, basically. I drew this in 2011, and that's kind of what I'm getting, you know, from your picture. I'm getting kind of an old me vibe, where I wanted to define everything in the drawing. And for me, I really liked the way this picture looked, but everybody else didn't. Like they thought it was weird looking and that you didn't really need any of this extra definition. And like the eye was weird, but whatever. I was what? 16? I don't know. 17 maybe? I definitely think that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this. So you don't have to define every single brushstroke. I definitely think you've got to use references. If you are going to draw links, you need to use a reference. Even if you're just using it like looking at it, I definitely think it's not a sin to use a reference. Please, 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 guys, use references. I swear they're so helpful. You don't have to draw the whole picture to draw from a reference. You just have to have a picture right next to you, right next to your drawing. Like, this is your reference, this is your drawing. And you just like kind of like look at it like while you're drawing. You're like, okay, like that's how an eyeball looks. Like that's what a cat eye looks like. Use a reference until you're comfortable enough drawing that thing not to use a reference. Like, I don't use a reference for people anymore because I feel confident enough to not have to, but I will occasionally do figure drawings and I will go back and kind of reiterate everything that I know and everything that I've learned, because it's very important to use references, because you can't take everything from your mind. You cannot, unless you are, a genius and have an amazing memory and an amazing hand. Like, you cannot remember anything of what anything looks like. Like, when I first started drawing people, I drew them as circles, like circle body and like a square, or a circle head, square body, and like stick arms, because that's what I thought people looked like in my little 8-year-old brain. But it wasn't, and I used a lot of references, and I drew a lot of anime, and I used references of the anime. Like, I would literally draw from my manga books, and I would draw on my sketchbook. And that's kind of how I learned, but I was using references. I was referencing my anime. So use references, please. It's not bad, and it's really easy. Just look at the picture, and I'm sorry, this is kind of going into a rant. I'm sorry. Use references. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go on forever.